my God. Oh my God, thank you, Lord. Right, big buck right here. I smoked him, dude! I wasn't expecting that this morning at all. I get jacked up a little bit here. Right, big buck right here. Oh my gosh! That's a beast of an 8. Can't believe what just happened. I can't believe that. That's so much fun. Ooh, yeah. Let's destroy her. Shot the leaf. And then you drop him. Just like that. He was another 12 yards. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Lord.
Hi, and welcome back to Whitetail Edge, episode 5 of season 5. On this hunt, we're going to join our team member, Corey Meinke, as he's in Ohio and he's on another great deer. Corey is just that guy that, like, I call him the weed eater. He's just all over the place, running back and forth, doing all kinds of stuff all the time. And you sit there and you think to yourself, when you know Corey's like, does this guy ever stop? Like, is there ever any sit-down time in this guy's life? Because he's just always doing something. The guy lives and eats being in the woods. And so it's never surprising to me that Corey's always texting me different pictures of deer. But the cool part about this story is we can prove how effective Black Widow deer lures are.
So going into this year, I had a really big 4-year-old that I had 2 years of history with previously, and he just exploded this year at 4 years old. But we weren't real sure if we wanted to kill the deer, and we did end up hunting him in early season. Didn't get a chance to kill him. I'm kind of glad we didn't. He's going to be a giant next year.
We just got a redneck wrestled back there, and got my buddy helping me, Hunter, and got my wife out here. Aniston's asleep in the truck, and you can barely even see that gilly back there, but we're going to have to open it up a little bit more right now. We're gonna clear a path, a shooting lane out through here, cut a couple of those branches off, and then we're gonna till this up and get a new food plot in here in the next week.
About the beginning of October, my son and I went out and we planted a scrape tree in the same spot we do every year, and Hunter just loves doing that with me. And we loaded it up with Black Widow, but this year we had the branch butter. I had no idea this deer existed. We watched this bean field on the front of the property almost every night in the summertime. I'm running 15 cameras on it and never had a clue this deer existed in the world. We loaded that scrape tree up with Black Widow, and 3 days later, this deer showed up out of the blue, and he was destroying, as Hunter said, this scrape tree right off the bat. So we started getting him on this scrape tree pretty regular, actually. And it went a couple of weeks, and I decided I was going to go doe hunt. And at this time, I was still hunting that other really big deer on the other property. So I went doe hunting on this property. Sure enough, never fails, the deer you don't want to see that night showed up.
Well, now that we're actually set up and I can relax a little bit, it's 6 o'clock on October 23rd, and I'm doe hunting. We had just crawled into the redneck, and we mowed a path right into the backside of this blind this summer. And it makes for the most unbelievably perfect entry and exit you could ever dream of. There's no doubt in my mind I could get out of this blind right now with 50 deer in that food plot. But we had just crawled in, and Mama and a button buck came walking. I don't know where they came from. I looked out the window and was getting the camera set up and looked out the window, and they were at probably 30 yards already. And they ended up walking right across our shooting lane here. And Mama was at 30 yards. And I just couldn't quite make the bow and the camera work together. information and hopefully make Appeal start working with me on that other property. Fingers crossed. We'll see some more deer tonight. Don't really care if we shoot one. I'll shoot a nanny if I get a chance, but we're just here to have fun. That was one of the 2 bucks on this property that I would probably kill. I'm not sure what would happen if he would have walked down here.
And that was the night I realized that this is a deer I need to be hunting. This deer's way better than I thought he was from the pictures. October 31st, it was absolutely pouring rain. And I waited till 1 o'clock. It was a hurricane. Went in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and hung a new set for this deer. It was the next day. It was November 1st. Jumped into stand. Saw a few deer that morning. Pretty nice young 3-year-old 8-point actually. And it was about noon or 1 o'clock, I believe, and I turned around and Destroyer was out on the edge of the clear cut at 75 yards.
Meh. Meh. Meh.
I just blew it. that is the perils of self-filming. That was Destroyer. That was the buck that we were in here for. That was the buck that we hung this stand at 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon in an absolute hurricane downpour for. That's the buck we're here for, in other words.
Finally, that third or fourth time when I went to stop him, don't know why, but instead of moving the camera with my knee like I had been, I reached down to move it with my elbow, and I guess I took pressure off my bow, and it jumped on me, whacked the camera, tipped it straight down, and there went Destroyer for the second encounter.
Hi, Ben Rising here with Black Widow Deer Lures. On our show, Whitetail Edge, we're always looking for that one little thing to get the dupe on a big buck. For us, it has become Black Widow Deer Lures.
Yes! Yes, baby! Oh my gosh, that's him! Yeah! I'm gonna just freshen it up just a little bit with some branch butter. Oh, I smoked him, dude!
Black Widow Deer Lures, never brown or broken down, always fresh.
November 10th, I went down into what I call the river bottom and checked a camera that I hadn't checked for a long time. And November 3rd, November 4th, November 7th, and November 9th, Destroyer was on that scrape in daylight. And I knew right then he was in trouble. So after November 10th, I knew I had to get into that river bottom stand as soon as possible. I actually loaded that up with Scrape Master on my way out that night. Hadn't even looked at the card, so I didn't know he was there, but I loaded it up with Scrape Master and headed out. Looked at that card when I got home, and I knew I had to get in there. And I was running a little bit late. I climbed in the stand. I got my cameras all set up. I was just turning around, and I saw a deer immediately, and it was him, and he was at 70 yards. When I got the camera on him, he was standing broadside at 70 yards, and I got the extinguisher out and I hit him with that a few times, and he snort-wheezed at me immediately. I kept grunting at him, and a little buck came in between us at about 15 yards straight in front of me in the food plot. And when that happened, I thought it was game over. I thought he was going to march in there, run that little buck off, and it was going to be done. But he stood there, 5-year-old buck. He's played games before. He stood there and he checked this year-and-a-half-old buck out and watched his movements, and he snort wheezed at him one more time once he was out in the middle of the plot. And 2 different times he took a few steps towards us, but in the long run he just turned and walked the other direction.
When that little buck walked out in front of us here, I thought he was going to come marching right in. He actually snort wheezed, and he must have known that little buck was there before I did. He actually snort wheezed, so I snort wheezed right back at him. I think I actually did it twice. And when that little buck came walking out, he took a few steps towards us a couple different times, but he never did commit to anything, commit to coming in.
So the next morning, November 13th, right in my favorite few days to hunt. November 9th to November 13th is always my favorite days to hunt. And seeing him the day before, first thing in the morning, my hopes were high. I went back down over the high wall for the second time ever and climbed into stand. And as you'll see that morning, a pack of coyotes came howling and hunting down through the river bottom, and I stuck one at 10 yards, and she made a horrible, horrible racket. And honest to goodness, I didn't think I'd see a deer the rest of the day. 10 o'clock, I got down and actually spent 2 hours looking for this coyote. She was a solid orange coyote that I had pictures of for about 3 years, and I really wanted her. Got back into stand about 2 o'clock, I think. And at 3 o'clock, started seeing some deer again, and it was pretty interesting the way it played out.
you going? Stay here with me. I think those turkeys walked up on that steep hill, whatever you'll call it. I call it the high wall. I think those turkeys headed up there, and he must have been bedded up there. And we got destroyers right here. I just got him. I just got him. I just got him. That was him crashing. That was him crashing. That was him crashing. I was sitting here talking about that 2-year-old, and I turned around. I thought I heard something. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh my God. Oh my God. I was sitting here talking about that 2-year-old. I was sitting here talking about that 2-year-old that I just had go behind me. And I thought I heard something. And I turned around and he was at 20 yards. All right, well, I got down out of the stand and hiked up the high wall, got back out of here, went to the truck, and it just so happened that I put a teaser on Facebook, and my buddy Zach was 10 minutes up the road. So his wife ran him down here to town, and I ran over and picked him up. We're going to film the recovery right now, but that's the stand I was sitting in. Right back here is the site of impact, and I walked by it on my way out. It looks like a massacre, I'm not going to lie. That Havoc tore that deer up. Melt. That's a good site of impact there. Blood trails green up. I see the deer. Is that beautiful? Is that beautiful? Oh man. I don't like how his head's up, but he's dead. How about it, Zach?
That's a dandy.
I like those brows. Ooh, he smells like a deer. That's Destroyer. Honest to goodness, he's a deer I don't have history with, which is extremely rare on this property. But he's a 5-year-old buck, and this is my 4th encounter with him. It finally all paid off. Just a gorgeous deer, fully mature. He's got a stick of a G3 on both sides. He's got what I like to call a muley fork over here, and just killer brows, killer brows. But that's why we do what we do right there. That's the reason we do what we do. Absolutely love it. The prime put it where it needed to be, and the Havoc tore him up. It's been a long time since I saw a blood trail like that. Just a gorgeous deer. So blessed to be able to do what we do, and blessed what we have. That's another stud for Whitetail Edge. We're off to a great year this year. There's lots of guys left to do it. But what a pig.
Well, in the end, I guess that just shows you all you need to know about Black Widow. A lot of people ask us all the time, is this stuff legit? there's no denying it after watching that. We load up a scrape tree with Black Widow, and 3 days later, a deer I never knew existed comes out of the woodwork and is there for the rest of the year, all over multiple cameras, on multiple scrapes, all loaded up with Black Widow. So, is that a coincidence? You tell me. I don't think so. So after 4 encounters with this particular deer, time after time after time, and not get busted multiple times within bow range, I think that says a lot about the phase line of products from the Illusion Systems.
So as you can see in this episode, you know, as Corey's talking about how effective the branch butter is, and, you know, just, you know, how all of a sudden this deer just shows up out of nowhere, is all aggressive, and, you know, how the Black Widow and the Spartan cameras together let him know what was going on. Trust me, it's not easy self-filming. So in the situation that Corey's in, he's really got to rely on his camo, and the mossy oak is really effective in the tree that he's in, because Corey's not in a giant big tree here. So this kind of gives you that feel like, you know, when you got deer staring you down or in this area, you have to be, you know, you just got to use all the tools to your advantage. Hey, thanks for watching Whitetail Edge. Join us on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you haven't already watched us, you know, some of our other hunts in the past, check them out. You can find them all on Mossy Oak Go. All our older hunts are on YouTube and Carbon TV. Check them out. You won't be disappointed, because we've had the last 4 years of killing giant bucks.